Hello, everybody. Let's exit to port. It is currently the 17th of December, 2024 at 11:02 in the... I almost said afternoon, but it's not afternoon. It's just before noon. And before anyone comments about it, yes, you will probably hear a 3D printer in the background. And it is because it refused to pause when I hit pause on it. So, it might suddenly do something weird in the middle of the episode. Who knows? We'll figure that out. Anyway, someone else who might do something weird in the middle of the episode, Grumbles. How you doing?
Yeah. Well, apparently, amongst other things, I've carved out quite the niche for myself. Hello.
I think I'm getting better at these intros. You know, after almost 5 years, I'm finally getting better at them.
Yeah.
Can you believe that it's been almost 5 years?
It's hard to fathom, but not in a bad way. Just
No.
it's just fascinating.
It's been amazing. We are going to be looking a bit at our Spotify and Buzzsprout Wrapped and, you know, these sorts of things. Because it kind of ties into what some of our patrons have asked us. And speaking of said patrons, I want to say thank you to you who have boldly jumped in together with us. And... like I haven't done any sort of payout from Patreon yet, but eventually when I do, it like what I'm hoping to be able to do is to say to Buzzsprout, hey, let me just pay for a full year instead of a month at a time, or such, and that would be amazing. And you guys have helped that, so thank you so much for choosing to be part of this this journey together with us. We are eternally grateful. If there's anyone that might want to join said patrons, you can do that through going to patreon.com/exit2port. That's patreon.com/exit2port. And $2 or euros a month will give you access to these episodes as early as we can publish them there, which is usually about a week before everyone else, if not more. And we have some plans for some behind-the-scenes stuff and some shenanigans tied to some of our Know Your Role things that we've talked about throughout the years. And another perk is, of course, you are guaranteed to get your comment or question in if you send it in to us and mark it as your patron question. So thank you so much for those of you wanting to do that. And speaking of just that, we're gonna start with a question from, or it's not a question, but it's a comment from Tilted Head, who's one of our patrons. Because he had a very nice little question for us. If I could just, find it now. There we go. Right. Tilted said, would you be willing to do a VOD/podcast where you go down rabbit's hole on a topic of your choosing? You mentioned it as something you shouldn't be doing in Exit to Port, but it got me thinking, and I think it would be awesome having you to hyper-focus on something. And you know what? I think that could be cool, to do more specific content in some special episodes. And that's definitely something we could do for the patron. The problem is time. But yeah, no, definitely if there is, like, if we suddenly get caught up in a certain topic and we keep recording for hours and hours and it turns out to be fabulous content, that's certainly something we could release on Patreon or as a bonus episode on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
What topics would that be, Grumbles? What do you think we could drone on and on about for hours and explore?
I don't know. Maybe the etymology and a brief history of dead horse flogging. Right on cue.
Right on cue. It's as if I have only 2 buttons on the Go XLR for this profile. Yeah, no, there's probably many things we could explore. But the problem is kind of staying on topic in a good way, not just... It's going to sound weird when I say it this way, but not just another white man with a podcast, where you have some person with half an idea what they're talking about, waffling on about it, and so on. I need to sneeze. Oh God. Ugh. That was close. I managed to announce it before, so maybe it wasn't that close. Anyway.
Know your sneeze.
This is a weird episode. There's a lot of podcasts out there with people that just kind of have a minute grasp of a subject, and then they wax and wane on and on about it in ways that it doesn't grab me, at least. It grabs a lot of others, and I'm not going to mention names because that's not how we do things around here, but there are too many of them. If I go down the rabbit hole on something, I want it to be something I can explore either together with someone who is knowledgeable about it, or that I have knowledge about that someone else wants my knowledge in regards to. And right now, the only thing that it feels like I have knowledge about is life. And even there, I'm severely lacking. But no, like I think if we find a topic that makes us very excited and we explore it for a lengthy amount of time, it's definitely something we could do. Yeah, and I feel maybe something tied to role-playing games or such might be very much the thing where we could do that. But we'll see. I at least like the idea. So tilted. Tentative yes. Tentative yes on that.
It makes me wonder, if we looked back at the episodes, how many rabbit holes we went down previously without necessarily realizing it, or managing to rein ourselves back in just in time.
Yeah, there is that. But I mean, had I known now after 4 years, had I known then what I know now after 4 years is what I wanted to say. I think the format we have now is definitely how I'd even start out our podcast. But we had a different idea about it when it first started out. But it's evolved. It might still evolve. Who knows? We're just gonna have to keep an eye on it. And then speaking of keeping an eye on it, we do have another question. And this is from Mari. And she says, every app seems to have a wrap-up. Which one was your favorite so far? And what was most surprising? So I don't know how many apps or things you are part of, Grumbles, that have these sorts of wrap-up situations going on, about oh, these are your stats and so on. Like, are you?
I like the
part of
Twitch
any-
recap.
Yeah, Twitch recap or you do the Spotify Wrapped or so on. You know, how many are you part of?
The Twitch recap. That's it. I don't really have any other apps or services that I'm signed up to that would have that kind of summary.
Nothing else?
No, I don't spend that much time on the internet, really, in that many places. I just do my thing, and I don't even watch Twitch that much. I do my Twitch thing, and then I go and lurk in a couple of places sometimes, but mostly I just get off the PC or, you know, maybe play a game to chill out or do a video edit or something like that. But I don't really have... I don't have that many things because I find them all very distracting. And speaking of rabbit holes, and I just don't want to go through. I don't want to put myself through that and wonder why 3 hours later I'm I don't know, looking at how tin cans are made or whatever, and be like, well, how did I get here?
How do they do it?
Yeah, I've never really used Spotify and all these kind of things. I don't know. I'm just don't find time for it, or it doesn't draw me in.
So I'm part of a few of these things that give me these wrap ups, and new to this year for me is the it's the Duolingo Wrapped, where it gave me my 1 year in review for relearning German. And throughout this year, I did 246 lessons, which are like 3 to 5 minute lessons per day. And you know, went through some of these things. And apparently, even though I don't really do that many lessons a day or such, I'm top 8% of all learners on Duolingo. Which tells me one thing. It is that they don't really have that many active learners.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I did spend 555 minutes learning this year, so there's that. And I think that was probably my main surprise, just how quickly it builds up. Like even with just some small lessons here and there, just how quickly it builds up with it, and that my knowledge of German is growing just by adding those tiny lessons here and there. It might not be growing at an alarming rate, but you know, there it is. But we do have some statistics we want to talk about, and that is what we're going to be looking at right now. We can look at our YouTube statistics over the last year, because I converted the playlists that I have on my YouTube into a podcast playlist. And throughout the last year, on YouTube alone, we've had 126.7 hours of view time. And oddly enough, they seem to go in peaks around the middle of every month. I'm not sure why. We've had 445 plays on there, which is also pretty good. Our most popular one there was episode 5, which is We Found Another Dead Horse, which is kind of fun because it also coincides with some of the other data we have in some of our other wrap-ups. 45 of all viewers find us through the surf function, as in, you know, start screen and subscriber feeds and so on. So that's pretty cool. 9% of them have been through suggested videos. That's pretty nice. 78.4% of the viewers and listeners on YouTube have been with subscriptions, and 21.7 are without subscriptions. Sadly, we can't get anything about our demographic there, but Spotify gives us that one. And I don't know if you caught it, but our most popular episode on YouTube too was We Found Another Dead Horse.
So that was the top on YouTube and on Buzzsprout.
Yes, yes. We Found Another Dead Horse, indeed, the most popular on both of those. I mean, before we touch on the Buzzsprout one, which has it takes data from so many different ones. Let's look at our Spotify Wrapped, shall we? For creators. With this horrible layout. Spotify, please change it back to just being normal. Spotify gives us a bit different information than a few of the others. We gained 10% followers on Spotify. Thank you to anyone who follows us on Spotify. That is incredibly grateful. What? I know English.
It is grateful.
We are grateful for that. And we gained 33% of our listeners on Spotify this year. That's pretty big. Like, as in, you discovered us this year. That's pretty cool. And the most popular episode on Spotify was episode 8, the one where we are very motivated, where we clearly weren't. I still remember that episode very clearly. We were not motivated. It was a tough day. It was streamed 111% more than your average episode. So clearly it worked. Like, we did something right, isn't it? Is it because we were just honest about things? Like, we were just, this is how it is. We're tired. Don't expect much of, we were just straightforward in that episode. So, maybe we'll keep that.
I think it's giving us guidance. It's like what I think what that means is our listeners are saying to us, less effort equals better content. So that's what I'm taking from it anyway. I'm going to put less and less effort in next year for better and better results. Isn't that how it works in life generally?
Yeah, it's like, podcast, whatever. Hi.
All right, you lot.
Ever wondered who your audience is? Asks Spotify. Have you wondered who our audience is? Because I have. Like, we generally know, but it's always fun to find some of these statistics. Our demographic on Spotify. 33% is between the ages of 30 to 34. That is the lowest age group we've hit on Spotify. Does that say something about us? Or
we don't appeal to the youngsters?
I'm not shocked. 16% 35 to 44, 35% between 45 to 54, and 60% on 55 plus. You know what? I think that's a very fitting demographic for us. It just kind of suits us. I feel like I'm being heard by peers then, not judged by younglings looking at me like, why do you have a lightsaber? Too soon? Anyway. Listeners ages 30 to 34 grew the most by 100%. Okay. It turns out we had none, and now we have one. No, we actually don't get those numbers. We only get percentages. But, but like, yeah. That's a cool number, though. That much growth. Where in the world have you been? Okay. Our show traveled the globe. Yeah, we're gonna get a bit closer into this in the Buzzsprout breakdown too, which is also a lot of fun. According to Spotify, we were streamed in 3 countries, which I think is slightly wrong. But United Kingdom was our top country on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Does it give
I
us...
like the fact that it's 3 countries for Spotify, and they say the top country, but they can't even be bothered to give you a list of like.
like
it's only 3. You could just list them.
Do I need to click something to see the rest? No, there's nothing.
No.
It's just that's how it is. Your fans have great taste, obviously, says Spotify. I mean, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. Other than our show, they also loved Dungeons and Daddies, which is a great actual play humor D&D podcast, which I love. I think I might be partially why it's so high up there. Because I follow us. They also have Real AF with Andy Frisella. Never heard of. Dungeons and Daddies Patreon feed. Oh! So we have someone who is a patron of Dungeons and Daddies. Hashtag not a BDSM podcast, by the way. That is their stick. The Pat McAfee Show and Dan Bongino Show. Never heard of any of these others. Well, it's Dungeon Daddies I've heard of, but none of these others. Have you?
Nope. But I don't do much podcasting either. So I used to in the past years ago, but it was more for when I was like commuting, especially.
Yeah, I use it a lot when I clear snow or work outside or such. It's great for that. Or I drive. It's great for that. I see a theme. Because the music our listeners listened to was rap metal, power metal, and Japanese metal.
Interesting. So we appeal to blacksmiths.
Clearly. We also appeal to people who listen to sci-fi and fantasy in audiobooks, but also business and careers. We are at a strange place in this Venn diagram. I see the mix. I see the mix because we have our content creation part, which is kind of like our jobs. Like, it definitely is your job, and it used to be my job, and it was still my part-time job, I guess. So, yeah. We are definitely in there, and we have all the sci-fi and fantasy stuff we also speak about. So why do I need to scroll a million times to get to the next one? Spotify says, shout out to your biggest fans for keeping you at the top of your game. Why aren't it's not supposed to be one. You know what, I'm not gonna argue that. Yeah, I'm a top 10, says Spotify. You're a top 10. We're top 10 show for 5 fans. That's big. That is big. We're a top 5 show for 5 fans. Oh. And we're a number 1 show for 3 fans. Oh.
Imagine being the premier reason why somebody has Spotify.
That's pretty big for me. What kind of creator are we? Well, it's definitely going to be episode length and countries. So we are the explorers, according to Spotify. Okay. I'm not sure what that means.
No.
Okay. Exit to podcasts. There's so much scrolling in this. Thank you for giving people something to talk about. Spotify. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
It's. I don't think we should do it, but it's without giving people like images to see what we're looking at. It's just.
Yeah.
Like whoever designed this, it was designed by like a 5-year-old, and someone about 7 years old signed off on it. And we're like, yeah, this is a great way of delivering content.
It's giving me, the old Winamp equalizer mixed with all the transitions in PowerPoint 95.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it's giving me.
Yeah, I think it's a good summary. Yeah.
And the color palette of like you said, a 5-year-old just gone nuts. It's very bright, very colorful. It's not for me, but it's something. It's something. Buzzsprout, however, has something different for us. They I'm looking at the achievements in non-Buzzsprout, and that's where I was reminded that we are almost 5 years old. On the 25th of January 2021, we published our first episode there. And since then, it's been downloaded 1,665 times there. This will be our 48th episode published there. And that alone for me, like this is all time, but still, that alone for me is pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. So let's compare. Let's compare a bit, because we have some statistics from the last year on Buzzsprout too, and why don't you get us started here?
Me? Oh, yes. Sorry, I had a brain fart for a moment there. So
it's
just
one of those
no, it's okay. I wasn't expecting the ball, so took it to the face. Dodgeball. Yeah. So our Buzzsprout summary, which has, first of all, it's legible.
Yes.
And it's not like giving me fits looking at all the colors and things moving around the screen. So kudos. It says that we published our 11 episodes. Obviously, this one's not included. And that our most popular city, which we both had a good sort of little chuckle about this earlier, was Frankfurt am Main.
Yep.
Here in Hessen, Germany, and followed by equal second place of Leighton Buzzard in central Bedfordshire, just northwest of London, going past Luton and that kind of thing, if you know your UK geography, which I didn't really. I looked it up earlier.
No, we had to look it up. We were like, who do we know who lives? You know what?
Leighton Buzzard, yeah. But the best thing is that it's in equal second position with Singapore, obviously.
That one caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
That is super cool.
Hello to our friends in the Far East.
Yeah. Hello. Like I knew we had a strong following and a lot of listeners in Europe and North America and so on, but I have to admit, I'm kind of curious who it is that is such a big fan of us in Singapore. I am very grateful, though. I want to point that out.
Yeah.
And then then in last place, shared last place, there's Southampton and Chelmsford.
Yep.
So we're clearly big in the UK.
Yeah, I just had another look because it was sort of bugging me, but I'm pretty sure that I had been there. So I have been to Chelmsford. So I've been to 4 of the 5 places that are where we're most popular on our podcast. And pure coincidence, because it spans decades of my life. But yeah, the only place I haven't been is Leighton Buzzard. So maybe I have to visit Leighton Buzzard at some point.
So Exeter PortCon is going to be held in Leighton Buzzard.
We have a special event where we hire in some people with birds of prey. And the hill goes horrible. At least 3 people lose an eye during the
Oh God.
the event now.
But could you imagine if we ever grew that big with a podcast that we'd be at a point where holding a con for it?
Mm-hmm.
That would be insane. That would be
Exit
insane.
con, and the theme is it's all about leaving. So it's just a whole bunch of people. It's actually just a field. In the middle of the field, there's like a little turnstile door, like a rotating door, and people just go in and leave it and get a badge. Thanks for attending Exit Con.
Me and you can sit at a table with the badges and hand it down. So, thank you for coming. Thank you for going. Thank you for coming. Thank you for going.
Yeah, it's just we're just dressed like stewards.
No, that is amazing. 40 downloads were made in Frankfurt on mine. Although I do believe that it's not just in that city. Like, I think that is more to do with like knowing how they make the technology that spreads the internet. It's probably to do with that, but yeah. That is,
well, it does say a bit further down when looking at the summary of countries that the Germany's got 48, so there's another 8 sneaking out somewhere.
There is. Hold on, I lower my desk here. I need to sit down. I'm getting old. And you know what? in this episode, we're just gonna bear it all. I'm not gonna hide anything. There's a 3D printer on in the background. My back hurts. We're just gonna do that. Anyway, at the top it said we're a monthly mogul, but in the country summary it says jet setter. And yeah, you mentioned 48 downloads in Germany. That is square in the middle. When we have 133 downloads in the United Kingdom, we are big in the UK. I say big. 49 downloads in the United States. So, Germany, like, if you want to show that you really love us, you have to download more than the United States. I'm trying to get people to download more so that
let's make a competition.
Yeah. Because divide and conquer always worked so well. Singapore has 21 total downloads over this year, and Norway in 5th place with 12. And that one surprised me. I think because I don't listen to our podcast on Spotify. When I listen through it, it's usually on my own YouTube. That's Is it? I wonder who it is. No. If anyone feels like you want to share that this is you, by all means, feel free to share that with us. But we are not asking you to dox yourself if you want to stay hidden. I'm talking about you, Mr. or Mrs. Singapore. Not really. I'm not. For legal reasons, I'm not. Just. I made it weird.
It's a secret. Their secret joy. Their secret pleasure is listening to Exit Port, and they choose to remain anonymous. So as anonymous as internet tracking will allow.
And the same with you, Mr. or Mrs. Leighton Buzzard. We're on to you. We're not. We're not. Like, it's. We were actually talking about it that we kind of have this mental image of someone sitting there bemused, knowing that they're being talked about, but we have no idea that it's you. You could pass us on the street, and we wouldn't know it's you. By all means, if you pass us on the street, let us know that it is you, because it would be nice to actually say hi. Buzzsprout has given us a list of top episodes. You wanna go through them and have a gamble at why?
Well, our very top episode was episode 5 of this season, We found another dead horse.
Okay,
So,
so what was it we did in that episode? I'm curious because that is the top episode on YouTube too.
mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Can I find the topics from that information?
I have my suspicions. My suspicion is that we obviously it intimates that we're going to rant about the one or the other topic.
Yeah,
So I think people are drawn to that.
It could be. The topics in that one was we recently played Icarus, you played Bellwright, I played AFK Journey. Games on the Horizon was 7 Days to Die and Outer Worlds. Topics from the gaming world is that Larian opens a new studio in Warsaw. Twitch partner management. Right, yeah. Mari asked us about the kobolds. Molotov asked us about a tip regarding DMing, or rather had a tip for DMs. Grumpy had Scan, which was good. You talked about Streamscapes and something to smile about. And I had recently met Bonty, Sir Ma'am. Yeah. Nothing jumps out at me, but like I know it was a good episode.
I suspect it was the Twitch partner.
Yeah.
Management thing. That's where my inclination lies.
Yeah. Probably not wrong. What other episodes did we have there?
We had the early access one.
Was that when we decided to start publishing to Patreon?
I think it could be. That would make sense, yeah. One that was the episode 1 of the season, we segued too deep and too greedily. I think that was because we were having some shenanigans in the editorial meeting where
we were
talked about segues, and it was fun. And I think we delayed ourselves quite considerably with that. I was quite surprised to see that episode 2 is in the top 5, the Popgate one that we had. So I can only apologize for the Popgate shenanigans that we had, but TeamSpeak that we used to use was just all over the place at that point for whatever reason.
It was so weird. It just slowly got worse and worse and worse. Where it had been so stable, so good, and then just suddenly turned so horrible. Yeah, we're now using Discord, which I'm not a big fan of because I'd rather have something where we can run proper recordings in a good way, but we'll keep it like it is for now because it works, and then we'll have to work out something new if it starts to become an issue.
Yeah.
And then I think the timeless intro one. That's when I forgot to give the time at the start of the episode because I think I was sick. Or not feeling 100% there because everything was just ugh. Oh, that is great though. 550 total downloads over the 11 episodes, 13 different countries, and 1,005. What is that number?
1,520.
Yeah. Okay.
I would think that is.
Why not just write 1,520?
Because it doesn't sound as cool as 1.52k.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I guess is what they think.
That's a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
That is a lot of minutes, and that's just this year. So we talked a bit about locations, and the Buzzsprout also gives us a complete breakdown over the entirety of all our episodes. We have 4 downloads in South America. That's pretty cool. 394 downloads in North America. 1 download in Africa. 41 downloads in Australia, Australia, down there.
Yep.
Yeah. 156 in Asia. And 1,000 and, wait for it, 69 in Europe.
Nice.
Great
Well played, Europe. Well played.
Yes, indeed. Like landing us squarely on the very, very funny internet number. Great Britain leading the charge, 584 downloads. United States with 386 downloads. Germany with 250. Singapore with 143. There's that Singapore again.
Yep.
Norway with 107. 58 in Sweden. 41 in Australia. What? Why? You know what? It's cool. I'm okay with this. This is cool. 30 in the Netherlands. 9 in Ireland. 7 in Denmark. Frankfurt am Main again, 167 downloads of the total 303 cities, by the way. I could get a full list of all the cities, but I think you're going to giggle over the list here. Singapore at number 2 with 133. Chelmsford with 84. Brunswick, Ohio with 59.
Oh.
London, England with 49. Los Angeles with 43.
Interesting.
Then there's Washington and Virginia, 32. Fifth in Bavaria with 30. Southampton with 28. And equaled out by Leighton Buzzard with 28.
Hey, let's go, Leighton Buzzard.
I can also mention that we have India, Switzerland, Belgium, Canada, Spain, Russia, Mexico, Japan, Chile, Oman, Brazil, Indonesia, Czechia, Finland, Costa Rica, Iran, South Africa, Poland, Latvia, Serbia, Turkey, Taiwan, and Italy on our list of countries. Any other cool cities that we can mention? Stockholm. Let's see here. We have Barnsley, of course. We have Hattiesburg, Mississippi. That's a fun name. Boston, Massachusetts. Here to support their local angry Bostonian, of course. City of Westminster. What? What? Okay.
Very specific.
Very specific, yeah. Zurich. Chippenham. Okay. There's Scranton, Pennsylvania. Okay. Scranton. I've always loved that name. I don't know why. Something fun about it. Scunthorpe. What? We've been downloading Scunthorpe?
Apparently.
Yeah. Tower Hamlets. Barking.
It's interesting that it's breaking down like a few places that you'd sort of generally consider London. And then it's going into another sub-split later on further down, so...
Reading, Ipswich, Amritsar and Punjab, Oliphant, Pennsylvania, Prague. Uh-oh. You know who sits in Prague, right?
Who sits in Prague?
The production office for the community team for World of Warships. Uh-oh.
Well, that's a good job we only ever say positive things.
Yeah. Actually,
about their products.
No, we do tend to be constructive with what we say, and we do try to keep it that way. Yep. Mexico City. Oh, cool. Dos Hermanas Andalucia. There are so many cities, man. This is insane. Monmouth, Tokyo, Lewisham, Riga, Wolverhampton, Durham, Taipei. Wow. We're popular, man.
Yep. Worldwide entertainment.
Yeah. I can also say that over all the episodes, 30% have been through browser, 26% have been on a Windows computer, 52% have been on mobile.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And 395. Oh, actually, 395 of the downloads through Buzzsprout have been done through Spotify. 153 through Google Podcasts, 135 through Apple Podcasts, and 124 through Audible. I didn't know we were listed through Audible. That's cool. The more you know.
Yeah.
We're mostly popular on Windows computers. And then Android has 429 downloads, whereas Apple iPhone has 424 downloads. 156 unknown devices.
Oh.
Not sure what that means. Oh, that could be like could that be like smart speakers and such? No.
I don't know.
If you feel like you're listening to us on an unknown device, please let us know what device you're listening on. This is a weird.
We don't want to know anything about your device, just all about you.
What makes it unknown? 866%, not percent. 52% was through mobile. 36% was to computer with 612. Then there's 9% unknown. 23 through smart speaker. 8 of them through smart TV. Okay. This
fascinating.
It's fun what kind of information they actually give us, but I always wonder, how accurate is this? You know?
Pretty detailed, though.
It is, which is what makes me think that there might be some shadow data here that isn't necessarily correct. But I'm not gonna judge. July 2024, 160 downloads. This is it's humbling to look at this, knowing that we started out without really having I guess we had ambitions, but not necessarily the direct thought of how far we would reach. And I know we're not a big podcast by any sort of measurement, but it's it's kind of crazy to me that we're sitting here recording episode 48. We're about to head into our 5th year of this podcast. And it's I know listeners have said this before, that listening to us talk is kind of like listening to two friends just sitting down and ranting about something, and imagining us sitting in front of a cozy fire with a brandy or a cup of coffee or whatever, just chatting. But that is also what it feels like. That is guaranteed what it feels like to me, sitting here and doing these episodes too. So I'm just glad it kind of reflects outwards to people out there. And like both you and me always focus on, is that we are trying to remove some of those worries and thoughts, and maybe distract a bit from the daily grind, and I feel like we're able to do that. So what do you think of 2025, Grumbles?
I think it's like this year, but with a +1 on it. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I haven't really spent a lot of time thinking too far ahead because I've got more into a comfortable pattern, like psychologically, just sort of taking each day as it comes along, just taking it in my stride, and not getting myself too hyped up for anything, just as almost a self-defense mechanism, I suppose.
Yeah.
Don't set myself up for things that maybe don't turn out to or come together the way I was expecting. But that said, I'm also feeling like very comfortable and have a modicum of confidence in sort of what I'm doing and learning about what I enjoy and what seems to work well for me. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing where the journey takes us. And I like that we have a structure and vague or not vague. We have like a structure to work to, but we leave it open for meandering conversation the way we do. It's that's and it's good that that's what listeners enjoy too, because that's kind of what we're doing, and it feels much more natural and relaxed. Obviously with experience than it was when we started out, where certainly for me it was like I was kind of not tense, I guess, but not tense in any physical sense, but just like, oh, I don't know, how do I make this entertaining, whatever. And now it's just like, well, we're just having a good old chat, and that works. So yep.
I mean, that is, it's in essence what a podcast will be. It is someone just having a chat. And like I mentioned a bit earlier, there are many podcasts of people doing too deeply of a serious dive into topics they don't necessarily have a proper clue about. But I think for stuff like this, both you and me, we're very clear when we say that we don't necessarily have the most knowledge about this, but here are our experiences, here are our thoughts, and we are willing to learn more about these things. Be that content creation, be that role playing, be that talk about any games or such we've touched on, because it is important to me that we are genuine, and I will not sit here and claim some sort of moral superiority or knowledgeable superiority. Just because I can, I will try to take things in stride, and I guess that's a big part of the thought going towards 2025. It simply is, let's just see where it goes. Let's just see where it goes. I'm very excited though. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I would add as well, like looking forward to 25. I do have a what's the way to describe it? Like a deliberately subdued degree of optimism, because I'm very much somebody that all through my life, if I get too hyped up and too excited about something, then I feel like I fall flat on my face. So I've now got, rather than be cynical, because that's kind of easier for me to slip into. I've actually gotten myself into a mindset that is hopeful and optimistic. I do see the positivity. I see what happens with all of the good vibes that we generate collectively with everybody together in all of our different forms of content. And this one's no different because we get the positive feedback and responses too. And I see, obviously, we've just come through this crazy period of the last 2 or 3 years with the whole COVID thing on as well. And I feel that degree of optimism and the possibility for change, not going too directly towards the politics and all that stuff, but just quite some big things need to change in the world, and I think that change and opportunity is present and visible, and the question is just whether actions live up to the words and the potential for us overall as a species to kind of do better than we've done in preceding years, and learn from the past and grow and develop from it. And I think in a very small way, that's kind of how I want to set my stall out for us here on the podcast and generally with our content creation. It's just, iteratively improving over time, and figuring out and gravitating towards the things that work and that are fun, and just generating some smiles and some good energy. And I think that that's kind of what we can do and what we can achieve, and then add a few rants and raves in the middle of it just to mix it up. And I think it's good to take positions and share opinions and thoughts and experiences, but also, which I think we do well, which is keep an open mind and be prepared to listen and learn and adapt as we get new information or have new experiences on the topics as well. So yeah, I do have this optimism that I'm keeping fairly reined in. But let's see where it goes.
I very much echo that statement, because I also tend to build up things in my mind too much. I get myself too excited for things, and trying to move forward into the upcoming year with more like, okay, let's kind of just chill. Let's just be a bit more, not cynical, but rather, let's take this one step at a time and just be a bit more open for the fact that not everything is going to be super overhyped. Not everything is going to be a super success, but that doesn't mean that things went to absolute shit anyway, because like we often say on your channel, it's okay to not be okay, and part of that is it's okay that not everything becomes a massive success, and it's okay that certain things fail or not necessarily be as good as your mind had built it up to. That is certainly an option. I think it was Mythbusters that it always said failure is always an option, and it's fine. But I hope I don't fail my finals, which is going to be part of what's going to go on in 2025. Because that's going to be delivered early March. Yeah, and it starts up now in January. So I just hope that content creation doesn't take too much of a hit, because that's something that I enjoy. I might not be full-time anymore, but I very much enjoy it, and I kind of want to keep going with it. Hell, if I could be full-time with it without the stress of things, then I probably would be. There's a lot of people that don't know how stressful it is to be a content creator.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart. I want to point that out. Well, faint of heart might not be it, but it's you've probably had people comment this to you that they come in and then it's be like, this is easy. All you do is play a game and stream, right? Every time I see those comments, I'm like, yeah. 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 You go ahead. You go ahead and stream and just game. That's good luck.
Yeah, I think there's that. There's the illusion. I mean, first and foremost, we've talked about this on some of the episodes in the past, obviously, but you're. I think people think it's as simple as you've just described it, and it's you're actually going into the entertainment industry, and it's very competitive, regardless of whether you see it that way yourself or everybody's vying for a little bit of the audience or whatever. And like in most things in entertainment, the vast majority are the ones that are just beneath the surface or whatever that you don't really see, and they're there and in a way propping up the rest of it. So people tend to look at the sort of the shiny stuff, which is what you'd expect, but it's it's really not that straightforward, and it has a level of both addiction elements to it and paranoia and anxiety that goes with it as well. And I mean, you only really have to look and see, like, there's many people that just go, I'll give that a go, and for almost everyone it doesn't really work out. Include myself in that, as in, if you want to, I mean, depends how you measure these things, but for me it works because it's a peace of mind and it's a hobby that I've turned into a living, but it's you're kind of scratching and scraping by comparative with a lot of traditional jobs, even more like straightforward sort of working person's kind of jobs and things, working class type thing. You're at you're in the lower echelons typically, and then there are opportunities and there are sponsorships and things like that, but it's even that is then a level of energy, and you have to make a compromise. You have to say, well, okay, then I'm not really going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do what sponsor ABC wants me to do instead, and you have to find that right compromise and that balance between with how much of that you do, and it's not terrible, but it's like it's kind of like the way to do it. And then obviously you've got the whole advertising stuff to deal with as well, and whether you do those or you don't, and all that mess, and that big for the platforms in general having lent so heavily on advertising revenue and kind of thrust that upon the content creators as well on all of the platforms. It's quite a messy business in a way, and like you said, that then lends itself to more psychological pressures and stresses and strains, because there's times you just don't want to see it. The umpteenth time that someone's come in and go, well, I just got 12 adverts. Yeah. And how much control do I have over that? Zero.
None.
Could I turn adverts off? Yes. Do you want me to also stop streaming entirely and stop content creating entirely because I have not enough to put bread and butter on the table? Because that's kind of what you're asking me to do. Do you want me to come to your workplace and say, hey, put all your tools down, stop doing what you're doing for a few hours, and just entertain me for free, kind of thing? So
I just came into your shop and had to buy stuff in order to talk to you.
Yeah. So and on the one hand, I get it, because you're kind of a target you're in the entertainment industry, and it's all Wizard of Oz, it's all smoke and mirrors and kind of nonsense, but it has a purpose, and we do it for a way to entertain and to get to take the edge off of everyday life for people and things like that, and for ourselves. And so I like that side of it, but I think, as I said, there's a lot of it that is smoke and mirrors and an illusion that it's viable. For the vast majority, it's very, very difficult. And I've got a much better appreciation and understanding, having done it for a few years full time now. It's it's there's murky waters out there. You gotta tread a little bit carefully or whatever. So yeah. But again, the joy and the relief and everything else that it can bring for ourselves and for the people that are tuning in is makes it worthwhile for sure.
It is definitely the hardest job I've ever attempted to be part of, and I've had some grueling jobs. I will say that. It's definitely interesting, but like the people you mentioned that come in and talk about the ads and such, and then you have all of those that just kind of say, oh yeah, this is easy, I can do this, and then they like the first thing I always say to them, to new people starting up, do not look at the numbers. Never get caught up in the numbers. They are the downfall of so many people out there that could do beautifully in this, like, not just as a hobby, but you know, they could do this full time, definitely. But they have to get across that trap that is the numbers. And there are probably some out there like, what do you mean when you say that, Tiger? Well, okay, let's talk about it. When people start out streaming, it going from 0 to 1 is 100% increase in the amount of viewers you have. Going from 1 to 2, oddly enough, is also 100% increase. And keeping up that at the lower levels like that is going to show you statistics and numbers that they're skewed. You know, they're set up in a way to make you feel, oh shoot, this is really cool, this is amazing, I want to see this always. You know, you get new followers, you get more averages, you get more people coming in and looking at you, and you maybe get your first bits and your first subs and so on. But the cold hard truth is, at some point, sooner or later, and sadly, probably sooner than you think, those numbers are going to plateau and stop for a bit. And the amount of people I've seen grow almost an animosity towards their own community because they feel like people aren't watching them anymore. People are watching. Those same people that came in to start are still watching. The problem is that's not necessarily what gets you new people. That's not necessarily what keeps the growth going. But the stagnation in that graph, that stagnation in those numbers, is going to change how you view your own viewers and your own content and your own journey so significantly. And it's going to be bad. It's going to make an enemy out of the viewers for a lot of people, and that's not good. That's not good at all. And that's where I see a lot of people fall off and fail and give up, rather, I should say, not fail. It's not a failure as such. I want to point that out, but it's where people give up because they feel that they have failed. It's been a long road for me since late 2016 and affiliate in early 2017 up until the point in 2020 when I started being full-time for about 2 years. It took me a long time to build this up, a very long time. It took me a lot of hours, a lot of learning. So yeah, no, it's definitely one of the hardest jobs and stuff that I've ever done. And you mentioned the industry. The fact is, streamers can't just do just what we want. Content creators can't just do just what they want. Some can, but they are in this they're the 1% community, you know? Most of us fall prey to new rules or new changes. Be that the ad manager, be that the Dan Clancy paradigm, or whatever you want to call it, you know, collaboration, all of these things that are being pushed on us by these wonderful, in quotation mark, algorithms that are being pushed. Because in the end, all of this is driven by businesses. That means we fall prey to needing to follow some of these businesses in order to actually make it. And it's hard. It's really hard. Because what we want to do, we want to sit here and chit chat. We want to sit here and create content that is ad free, that doesn't need to be sold. But we can't. And finding that magical way through the middle is hard. It's very hard. But it's also very much a reason to smile, honestly. Because it is those few times where we do get those messages that we helped someone get through something. We gave someone a reason to smile a day. Or we helped someone have a bearable work day again because of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Those moments, every single time someone chimes in and says, "Thank you, Tiger, Grumbles, Grumpy, whoever," this helped me through this. This did this for me. I genuinely smiled at these things. Those moments are truly our treasures in this journey. And God, I wish they paid the bills. It's no, it's fucking ruthless to be a content creator. But it's my passion. I burn for it, and I know you have a very, very big passion for it too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it shows. And yeah, I think that's where we're gonna leave this episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's not been our usual 2 hours, but we've rounded a bit over an hour now.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's fine. We don't always have to sit and talk all the way to the 2 hours, 3 hours mark. And but there, I can guarantee there will be more episodes like that. And in 2025, here's my thoughts for 2025, Grumbles.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have our fellow Command and Conquer, no, Conquest and Cataclysm friends on.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have a few friends in the community on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe also our community manager, Mr. Killerben.
Mm-hmm.
Have him talk a bit about his passion for history.
Mm-hmm.
And how he got involved with wargaming and so on. And who's one guest we'd want to have on? Like, no matter who. Like, even if it is not reachable. Like, who's one guest we'd want to have on?
Well, yeah. Well, why don't you go? Because you're I guess you're talking like, pick any name ever. I know who I want to get on, which I don't think is impossible, because he's just one of our streamer friends. But I think it would be super, super fun to get Hula in.
Oh yeah.
And to do a session with Hula and talk about woodworking and ships and just chewing the fat. You know, what's it like to do the things we do, but from Texas?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm down for that. If we can find a time slot where it works for him, then I'm definitely in. Who would I want on? It would be cool to have like a superstar of some sorts on, and just kind of sit down and talk about things with them. I think I would love to have one of the one of the crew of, like, not Critical Role, like that would be amazing, don't get me wrong. Critical Role or anyone from D20 Dimension and so on would be lovely, but I think for me, like, you know, you've always heard of these Hollywood stars that play D&D or role-playing games or Warhammer or so on. I think having one of those on and just talk nerd stuff with them, you know, not focus on, oh, there's a new movie coming out that has you in it. No, just take it down to nerddom and enjoy the shared geekery of lovely nerdy stuff together. I think that could be amazing. You know, get to see a completely different side of them. Henry Cavill would probably be cool.
I was just going to say, you're going to reach out to Henry Cavill and you guys just nerd out about Warhammer. And I sit here going, I don't know any of this stuff, but it's a fun conversation.
No, Henry Cavill or Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel being an avid role player, I think that could be cool. Yeah. That could be amazing. I almost said, chat, let us know what you think. Community, please let us know what you think.
Chat's been unusually quiet in this episode.
That was weird.
The one thing I would have wished for this year is that chat had been a little bit more forthcoming. You know, I appreciate lurkers, but all year, every podcast, nothing from chat. It's, you know, step it up, chat.
Yeah,
step your game up.
Go. No, but for anyone listening, please let us know what your thoughts and ideas for us in 2025 would be. Is there anyone you'd want to see on or hear on, rather? Is there a topic you'd like us to explore? And don't forget that we have our Patreon. You know, you're guaranteed to get your thoughts in if you're there. Just saying, $2, euros, or pounds a month, or equivalent, and that's after taxes. No, that's before taxes. $2. That's all. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Grumbles, for wrapping up this year together with me. It's I'm looking forward to 2025, but right now I'm also looking forward to a Christmas break where I'm going to be doing a whole lot of schoolwork. Yay! Without further ado, that's going to be it for us. So it's a goodbye from me, and a goodbye from Grumbles.
Bye.
And remember, be as kind to yourself as you are to others. And this is where you say good vibes.
Good vibes, everybody.
Goodbye.